Hello folks, Mike Snider here. I'm sitting right out here in the backyard about 3 miles south of Gleason, Tennessee at my home. And I was raised about a mile right over the hill there. Me and my family raised corn, soybeans, wheat, and milo, and hogs. And we had an awful big time of doing that. And then I picked up the banjo, and that's when it all broke loose. That's what I'm doing now, and we're going to show you some of that and some of the things we do around here in Gleason for fun. So y'all stick with us.
Everyone, let's make welcome from Gleason, Tennessee, Mike Snider.
I hope this one goes over better than it did the other day. I was doing this for a friend of mine who was laid up in the bed sick. And I was over there trying to cheer him up. And I sung him this song. And I packed up my banjo and got ready to go. I said, well, I hope you get better. He said, I hope you do too. I'm still a little head McMahon for him, boys. It seemed like lately every time that I turn the TV on, there's Ed McMahon standing in front of a $100,000 home. He said he sent me an envelope and it'll be here any day. And I might win $10 million, so I better not throw the thing away. I bet he sent one of them things to everybody in the nation. Just to fit it out, send it off, you need a college education. But the way things are and the shape I'm in, what have I got to lose? At least this way I got a shot at something, boy, I could sure use. Well, it looks like this year's gonna go down as the year I lost it all. The finance company's got my car and the bank gets the house this fall. I'm out of work, I'm on food stamps, my back's against the wall. I'm just sitting here eating soup beans waiting on Ed McMahon to call. Well, I thought about the thing so much that I was seeing dollar signs. And all the great things I could do if that $10 million was mine. Just sitting here fitting the dang thing out has been a world of fun. And according to old Ed, I may have already won. My tongue is raw from licking stamps, but I finally got it down. Now all I've got to do is load it up and carry it to the post office downtown. I can only hope and say a prayer that it's worth the time I took. But you reckon old Ed'll throw it away if I didn't order none of them books? Looks like this year's gonna go down as the year I lost it all. The finance company's got my car and the bank gets a house this fall. I'm out of work, I'm on food stamps, my back's against the wall. I'm sitting here listening to my stomach growl, waiting on Ed to call. Gleason is a farming community mostly, just row cropping and raising hogs, and there is some more industry around here. We've got clay mines and brick factories, and I just can't seem to stay away from it. I'm awful familiar with all these old hills and hollers, and I love the people that lives around here, and we're all pretty close, and that's why you won't see me taking up residence anywhere else. I'm stuck here on the hill in Gleason, Tennessee. Downtown Gleason. Folks, this is better known as Channel 6 right here. If you want to know anything in the world, come here. Tom Brokaw ain't got but just a portion of the news. You can come down here and get it all. Yeah, this is Johnny's computer he's working on here. Laptop. Micah's not only one of the finest gas pumpers and oil changers in Gleason, but he's also a good dancer, plus he's our local limousine driver.
That's
right up here's a picture of him on the wall.
Yeah, there's a picture on the wall over there. Gotta have, it costs extra for the chauffeur's hat. I am getting pretty ticked off at old Mike. Oh, He's become a big star now, and he ain't never used my limousine service. His mama has, but he ain't never used it yet. Don't you think he can afford one little trip in it?
Where you gonna go? Concert's over, somebody pull it up.
I'll get it, Mike. You might have to dance.
Jonelle, look like you're excited about it.
I don't get excited about nothing.
Let me introduce you to the rest of these old boys up here. I got some fine people picking with me, and I sure do love them a bunch. This boy back here on the bass fiddle is one of the nicest people I've ever met. Just this morning, I seen him offer a tramp $20. She wanted 50. He's a great guy. One of the smartest people I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, he started school in the 3rd grade. He did. He was 6 years old. He went to the first day of school, walked in the 3rd grade class. He told the teacher, said, I'm going to start right here. She said, you can't do that, son. You ain't old enough. He said, yes, ma'am, but I'm smart enough. And he argued around there with her. She finally ended up grabbing him by the hair and carrying him up to the principal's office. And she told the principal what was going on. And the principal said, well, give him a test. He may be smart enough. She said, all right, Blake, what's 10 times 10? He said, 100. She said, good. She said, what's a cow got 4 of that I've only got 2 of? He said, legs. She said, good. She said, what's the principal got in his pants I don't have in mine? He said, pockets. She said, good. Principal said, put the boy in the 3rd grade. I missed 2 of them myself. All right, that's But anyway, he hails from Sparta, Tennessee, and he's a fine fella, Mr. Blake Williams on the bass fiddle right here. This little fella's his hair standing up in the air over here. Ain't he got a head of hair? Mine's getting thin. It's coming out right up there. I went to Doc the other day and said, can you give me anything to keep my hair in? He sold me a shoebox. This is one of the finest 5-string banjo pickers in the country right here, and I'm mighty proud to be standing on stage with him. I used to watch him on TV back when I was a boy, and that's really not a joke. I used to get up early in the mornings and watch him on the Carl Tipton show up here in Nashville. He's just a little bitty fella at the time, and he could eat that thing up then, and he can eat it up right now. He's going to do one that everybody in here will recognize. It's called Under the Double Eagle. How about a hand for little Charlie Cushman right here? Right now, over to my immediate left is an old boy from Buffalo. The rest of us up here have natural parents. Just kidding there. He's really from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. He's a two-time world champion mandolin player, and we're going to turn him loose on one here that he wrote his own self. It's a wonderful number called the Oklahoma Twister. How about a half of Bob Clark here? My mother, besides being one of the sweetest people in the world, has got a great talent for cooking, and she's like myself. She loves people, and she's got a little restaurant over here in Gleason called Ruby's Restaurant, and people drive from miles around to come over and taste some of Ma's cooking. Let's go into the kitchen. Here we are in Ma's Restaurant, back here in the kitchen. This is one place that most folks don't get to see, and it actually looks as good in here as it does before you get it on your plate. Look at there, Ma. What you got today?
We have meatloaf, chicken casserole, scalloped potatoes, macaroni and cheese, cream corn, baby carrots, pinto beans, green beans, and apple seeds and salt.
I'll leave that order to it. This is Lisa May, my brother's wife. She is one fine gal. Hey, Granny.
Granny Red.
This is Granny Red. This is where I got my red hair from, right here.
Don't we look alike?
I help out when I can down here, mostly just help myself. Well, I'm eating pretty good these days. Folks, as Ma can tell you here, things ain't always been this good when it comes to eating. We had family get-togethers back when I was just a lad. We'd finish the milking early, and then we'd dress the best we had. After Ma'd fried the chicken and we'd combed and brushed her hair, we'd load up in the truck and off to Granny's we would tear. Now at Granny's house there wasn't a lot of room for a little fella to stand, 'cause the folks was laughing loud, slapping backs and shaking hands. So I'd slip off with my cousins till it's time to say the grace, when Uncle I could say the blessed, and then us children would take our place. We sat at the second table eating chicken necks and wings, a leftover dab of gravy and the fat back from the beans, fresh peach cobbler without peaches, melted ice cream from the churn. Wasn't very much to choose from once them grown-ups had their turn. Here, Charlie! I sat at a folded table on a black piano stool, and I could hear them grown-ups talking way off in the other room. The ladies are swapping gossip between each bite and half a sigh. Uncle Bill, he'd tell a joke, and they just laughed until they cried. Old Aunt Myrtle, she kept complaining about them new shoes on her feet. All the men, they just bragging about the good things they had to eat. How their plates all needed sideboards, cause the food was piles of high. I just sitting over in the corner, wishing I had a breast or thigh. We sat at the second table eating chicken necks and wings, a leftover dab of gravy and the fat back from the beans. Fresh peach cobbler without peaches, melted ice cream from the churn. Wasn't very much to choose from once them grown-ups had their turn. Wasn't very much to choose from once them grown-ups had their turn. This is about the chicken, and folks, there's more parts to it now than there's ever been. They've got fingers now. And I still don't know what part of the chicken they've been cutting that Mac nugget off of. Me and Bob Clark got together with old Larry Cordell, and we took notice of all this cruelty that's been done to the chicken. It's just about tore us all down. And we wrote this song. It's called Look What They've Done to the Dominick Hen. You know, we're real lucky to be living in the world today. With all the modern technology, we've come a long ways. Even in the kitchen, there's been so many changes. The women's went to using microwaves instead of electric ranges. I know that progress must go on even with the things we eat, and science is trying to improve upon the selection of our meat. But some things can't be improved on, and to stress this point, my friends, let us dwell for just a moment on the Dominick Hen. I stopped off down at the grocery store just the other day. I was told to pick a few things up and then be on my way. So I walked in through them electric doors and I grabbed a shopping cart, pulled out my wife's grocery list, and I took off like a dart. I don't usually do our shopping. This was all new to me, but I was making a lot of progress already on aisle 3. Chicken was the last thing on my list of getting sold. I headed for the poultry section just as hard as I could go. When I got there, I stopped my cart and I stood there for a while, amazed at all them chicken parts that were stacked up on the aisle. Used to buying an old hen really wasn't all this hard. They've done changed that feathered thing that used to scratch around in the yard. Look what they've done to the Dominick chicken. It's boneless now, skinless too, no longer finger licking. They got chicken tetrazzini, chicken cordon bleu, chicken teriyaki, these is just to name a few. You know, chicken is a common thing now, and just to prove my point, on almost every corner they're opening up a brand new chicken joint. There's Bojangles, Colonel Sanders, and Lee's famous recipe. There's gizzards, guts, and livers strode out as far as you can see. They're cashing in on the Dominicker, I know that for a fact. I've noticed the folks living up north trying to get in on the act. The Dominicker has been disgraced, and perhaps the lowest blow is when the Yankees proclaim her little old wings come from a buffalo. Look what they've done to the Dominick chicken. It's boneless now, skinless too, no longer finger licking. They got chicken franks, chicken planks, and fingers, well that's absurd. If a Dominicker had a finger, she'd shoot us all a bird. Now, Ma cooks and Daddy still farms. That man loves to work better than anybody I've ever seen. And if you don't catch him at work, there's something bad wrong with him. In fact, he's out there right now on the combine, just a shelling corn to beat all get out. This is Brother John. Everybody wants to know if John Snider's my brother. Yes, he is, and this is him. Right here is where I was raised. I used to come out here and as a kid and play all down in here. And got a beautiful view out over that bottom there. Got corn and soybeans down there. This old tractor's been stuck in every mud hole on the farm. It's been over every inch of it 1,000 times, I guess. And right here is where I learned how to play the banjo, sitting right out here in this swing. We'd come in out of the field, and I'd eat dinner real fast and grab the banjo and pick on it until Daddy hollered, time to go back to work. And then we get back in late in the afternoon out of the field. I'd grab it and come out here and sit. I've been eat up by mosquitoes and everything else, and I believe every buzzard in Weakley County knows the Foggy Mountain Breakdown. I'm going to sing about my wife, Sweetie, now. Y'all probably been wondering when I was going to talk about her. I've been married to my wife for 13 years. I've been married to the same woman for 13 years. You can tell I'm not a real country star. Marriage has been a wonderful thing for me. There's a lot of folks that's not as fortunate as I've been to find a good mate. And I tell you, we got a couple of them live right down the road from us, Herman and Pearl Bone. I don't know why they got married. They hate each other. They don't even look like they ought to be married to each other. Pearl's a great big old thing. She's not fat, she's just big. Corn-fed, you know. And tall. She's about 6'3", looks like she'd have grown another inch. She would have forked again. Forked, F-O-R-K-E-D. They're like trees. Am I going too fast for y'all right over here? And her husband, Herman, looked like he just got over a hookworm treatment. He's about that big around. And they's laying there on the couch one night watching the Wheel of Fortune. And Pearl said, Herman, get up and get in there and fix me a bologna sandwich. He said, I ain't going to do it. She said, if you don't fix me a bologna sandwich, you won't see me for 3 days. He said, well, whoop-de-doo. Well, the first day he didn't see her, and the second day he didn't see her. And the third day he could see her just a little bit out of his right eye. And then there was another time, they was laid in there on that couch, and Pearl said, Herman, get up and get out there and fix the outhouse. He said, what's wrong with it? She said, you go see. So he went out there and looked it over good, and he didn't see a thing wrong with it, but he did take a hammer and a nail and drive a nail on the side up and make a little noise, you know. And he came back in and laid down. Pearl come back through there about 30 minutes later. She said, Herman, I've told you to fix the outhouse, and you ain't fixed it. If you don't fix it this time, I'm going to slap you into the middle of next week. So he went out there. He stopped with a tool shed and got him some stuff, and he put masonite siding around it, dug a trench around it. He put pine tar all over the roof. Then he went out and got inside it to make sure he hadn't missed nothing. He's looking around. Still didn't see nothing wrong. Got down on his knees and stuck his head over in the hole. And while he was looking over in the hole, Pearl come up from behind him and spooked him. And when she did, he jerked his head out of that hole and hung his beard right there on the crack in the lip of the seat and pulled out a wad of whiskers. He said, Dad, blame, that hurts. She said, it's aggravating, ain't it? Y'all didn't get that right over there. That's all right. Well, with a romantic story like that, just leads us right off into this song. This is a little number, tells a story about how me and Sweetie met, and it is a powerful romantic thing. If you feel the urge to gnaw on one another during this, go right ahead. It was over there in Gleason, Tennessee, where I was born and raised. I used to take a moonlight stroll in the pasture where the milk cows graze. There she was, sitting on a barbed wire fence. I grinned at her and she grinned back. I could tell she had some sense. Said, I sure am proud to meet you, ma'am. You look like a diamond in the rough. She said, shut up, you fancy talk. Give me a dip of that snuff. I'll have to admit it, I was just a little bit surprised. When I handed her that box of snuff, it was love all in that woman's eyes. Snuff dipper, the story of my life. Snuff dipper, bet she'd make me a wonderful wife. So I courted that gal in the tater patch, and I courted her in the sorghum cane. I kissed her in the sunshine, I even kissed her out in the rain. First time I kissed her snuff-stained lips, we were sitting on a holler log. Son, she had breath on her that'd stifle a Hampshire hog. I said, woo, that was one strong pucker. You really know your stuff. She said, you didn't want no kiss at all. You just stole my dip of snuff. Snuff dipper, the story of my life. Snuff dipper, now I got one for a while. Here I am with my sweet little family. This is Blake right here. He's about 2 years old. He will be in November. Katie Lynn, how old are you?
4.
And you're going to be 5 in October. And this is Sweetie. Everybody wonders what she looks like. The most precious woman that ever drawed a breath of air right here. Right here, well, not this particular building, but here's where Sweetie was raised, right out here on the farm. We're over at their place, and I drove by one day, and she was out here feeding the hogs, and they just something about her stood out from the crowd.
Well, Mike tells a lot of stories about me. I guess people ask about the snuff dipping story the most. Does Sweetie really dip snuff? Well, I'll never tell.
Here we are at the Mall of Gleason, where you can see there's lots for sale. Lots and lots. So as far as the eye can see. I was born into the world of pick and grin. My wife was born to shop and spend. That woman loves to shop. She's a bargain hunter through and through. I've seen her spend $50 of trying to save two. Lord have mercy, Sweetie was born to shop. Born to shop. Born to shop. When it comes to spending money, she can't stop. If you'd like to know what I'm talking about, you drive her to the mall, turn her out, son. There ain't no doubt that woman was born to shop. Choosing her favorite seemed to be hard between Visa, Discover, and MasterCard. She got a handful of them she gets out of the truck. I know she don't mean no harm. She don't quit shopping, we're gonna lose a farm. It beats all I've ever seen. My wife was born to shop. Born to shop. Born to shop. When it comes to spending money, she can't stop. She got 3 closets full of nothing to wear and can't do a that blame thing with her hair. I'll declare, Sweetie was born to shop. Then one day things took a turn for the worse. Some nut run off with her purse. He took her credit cards and headed for Timbuktu. She said, Mike, call along. I said, heck no. There ain't no way he'll ever spend as much as you. Born to shop. Born to shop. When it comes to spending money, she can't stop. They say old shoppers never die. They just head for that big Walmart in the sky. They ain't no stopping her. Sweetie was born to shop. Heaven knows Sweetie's born to shop. Y'all probably wondering how long has Mike been playing the banjo, and I'm going to tell you that. I got my first banjo when I was in the 4th grade. I was 16 at the time. You know, I've never been a mental giant. But it don't matter how dumb you are, there's somebody out there worse off. I caught up with him in the 5th grade. He'd been there 2 terms when I got there. Them 2 terms was Johnson's and Nixon's. His name was Larney Whitefield, and I used to love listening to him respond to the teacher's question. One day she asked him, she said, Larney, if you had 10 flies on your back and you mashed one, how many would be left? He said, 1. The one I mashed. Takes a little while for some of these sink in. She said, how many presidents have we had? He said, what do you think? She said, I don't think, I know. He said, I don't think I know either. You know, his mama thought the reason he got such bad grades in school was because he couldn't see the blackboard, so she carried him to the eye doctor. And the eye doctor set him up on the examining table and said, son, I want you to put your right hand over your right eye, and I want you to read that chart right back there on the wall. Oh, Larney. Doc said, put your hand over your right eye, son. Doc left the room, come back in there with a grocery sack, had a hole cut out in it about the size of a quarter. He slipped it over Larney's head, said, now read that chart. And Larney started crying. His mother was watching all this. She said, what in the world's wrong with you? He said, well, Mama, I was kind of hoping for wire rims. You know, he could have went on to the 6th grade, but they didn't want to put him in the same room with his daddy. But he still lives around home. I was over at his house the other day seeing him, and I walked through the kitchen, and there was a puzzle put together on the kitchen table. I said, "You put that together?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "How long did it take you?" He said, 3 weeks. I said, "Well, I reckon that's pretty good, ain't it?" He said, "You darn right it's good. It says right there on the box, from 2 to 4 years. Banjo picking, back before I started making a living with it, was just a hobby. I never thought about doing it professionally, but things worked out where I could. And when they did, I ran out of a hobby. So I got some model airplanes with my dad and brothers, and we flew those around. I got heavy into that, and I got to wondering what it'd feel like to ride in one of them suckers. So I took flying lessons, and Reese Howell from Smyrna, Tennessee taught me how to fly. Folks, right here is a piece of American history. A 1945 J3 Piper Cub. I wanted one of these things ever since I learned how to fly, and I finally got one. And it's the funniest thing, flying over the farm. There's my house right there. Me and my brother John stripped her down this winter and repainted it. Got her looking like a brand new one. It flies down real low, and if I had to, I could put it in a cornfield. Of course, I don't want to put it in that one. That's John and Daddy down there. They wouldn't be too happy about that. I not only like to fly for fun, I fly to work. It only takes me an hour to fly to Nashville, and sure beats driving. Flying gives me a chance to do a lot of thinking, and I feel a lot closer to God up here. Final runway 4 for the airport. And here we go. We're going to land. There you go. This is a Cornelia Ford Airpark where I keep my airplane, and yeah, I got my own parking spot out here. A lot of times when I fly into Nashville, I like to hang around some of the airport bums. And here's one of my favorites, old Earl Scruggs. Say hello to everybody in Gleason.
Yeah, hi everybody in Gleason.
Hold it right there. This reminds me of another Earl I know. Boys, I believe I need to tell them about Earl. What do you say? Yeah, they need to hear about Earl. You know, there's everybody and or know somebody in your hometown who claims they know everybody. No matter who you're talking about, they know them. And there's one of them down at home. And Earl's his name. And there's an old boy down at home who got pretty good with his camera. And he got some nice calls. He got a call from Burt Reynolds' crowd out there in Hollywood, wanting him to come take a picture of Burt. And So he was telling Earl about it. He said, I'm going to get to take a picture of Burt Reynolds. And Earl said, when you see old Burt, tell him Earl says hi. Of course, the photographer said he ain't going to know you. And he went out there and took a picture of Burt. And right before he got ready to go, he said, by the way, Burt, Earl says hi. And Burt said, Lord have mercy. How is Earl doing? I ain't seen him in 10 years. Well, the photographer come home miffed, to say the least, you know. And then he got another call. And he's telling Earl, said, you ain't going to believe this, but I'm going to get to take a picture of the President of the United States. And Earl said, well, tell old Bill Earl says hi. Well, he went up and took a picture of the President. Right before he got ready to go, he said, Mr. President, Earl said hi. And Bill said, gosh, Hillary was just asking about Earl the other day. Well, the photographer couldn't believe it. He come back home and he's telling Earl, said, I've got the biggest call that a man could get. Said, I've been invited to come take a picture of the Pope. Earl said, well, I'm going with you. Me and him's close. Well, they got over there wherever the Pope's at, and I don't know where he lives. They didn't ask me to go. But they got over there, and the photographer got out front getting ready to take the picture, and the Pope walked out on that porch, and there was Earl right beside him. And the photographer just fell out cold. It's all over with. Earl said, what'd you pass out for? I told you I knew the Pope. And the photographer said, well, I was doing real good. That fella right there beside me poked me on the shoulder and said, who's that up there with Earl? Well, folks, it's time for us to do our biggest hit now. That's right. This is the song that's put us where we are today. Look, we ain't never had no hit. You could act like it, though. Now, listen, hold it. Wait a minute. We've got to get together on this. You've seen them big stars walk out on the stage. They don't have to do nothing. No. Band kicks the song off, plays 3 little old notes. Everybody recognizes the number, and the whole place goes wild. They go screaming and hollering and clapping, and I'm counting on y'all here this morning. Well, it seems like I usually clap a little longer than that, but that'll be all right. Since all the friends has got one, my wife wants one too. A knee-length fur coat ain't nothing else gonna do. She said she'd look real classy and make me proud of her if I'd run down to the store and buy her a fur. Well, she put me to thinking how that I was gonna swing that kind of deal. She knows good and well we can't afford that, and I'm too afraid to steal. But the problem finally solved itself like a bolt out of the blue. It just jumped right out in front of me on Highway 22. That big old German Shepherd, my car he didn't see. He went to dog heaven, left his hide under the GMC. For 6 weeks in the basement, I worked on it every night. It was trial and error mostly, but I finally got it right. I put it in a cornflakes box and I carried it upstairs to her. She kissed me on the mouth when she seen her fur. Now she's got that fuzzy fur coat, it reaches all the way down to her knees. She's been complaining lately, said her closet's plumb full of fleas. She don't know Fido is wrapped around her tight. She's putting on the dog, she goes out at night. Yeah, she don't know Fido is wrapped around her tight. She's really putting on the dog, she goes out at night. She's been real depressed since I backed out over the cat. And she's fixing to smile big with sure that new fur hat. Well, after a while, flying got to be work too, so I had to take up another hobby. And I'm right smack dab in the middle of shooting now. Not people, I'm shooting targets, clay targets. I started shooting sporting clays and stuff about, last September. It's been about a year now, and it's one of the funniest things I ever got into in my life. And I sure enjoy doing that when I ain't a-picking. Better than snuff, half as dusty. Be darned. Well, I'm about ready to go do something else before my shoulder falls completely off. Well, I got my banjo and my gun here, and you know what the difference between the banjo and the gun is? The gun don't make near as much noise. Well, we can't leave today without me telling y'all how I got in the music business. Now, for one thing, folks will turn on the television when I'm on, and they'll see me on there, and they think this old boy is putting on. They can't nobody talk like that. Folks, I can't help it. I wouldn't talk like this if I could help it. I'm from over at Gleason, Tennessee, and people over there, if you go over there and see for yourself, not everybody talks like this, but a lot of them do. See, Gleason's 150 miles west of Nashville. It's a real little town. Our only heavy industry is a 400-pound Avon lady. That's the truth. And the veterinarian and the taxidermist is the same man. Yeah, he's got a sign up over his door that says, either way, you'll get your dog back. But anyhow, I was a hog farmer, and me and my dad and brothers raised hogs and corn and soybeans, and I went and won the National Banjo Contest back in 1983, and I was aiming to put the banjo under the bed and not play it anymore, or try to make a living with it, and I went out and won that thing, and they invited me to be on the Nashville Now show over here in the Grand Ole Opry, and man, it was a big deal for me to get to be on the Opry for the first time. And then Ralph Emery had me on the Nashville Now show, and folks started laughing at my accent. And I went home and told Sweetie, I said, Sweetie, I've stumbled up on something here. I said, let's move to Nashville. I can get up there and tell stories and play the banjo, and, well, we can hit it rich. She said, let's go. Well, we moved up here, not like a lot of these country stars you hear about. Now, they move up here, a lot of them do. They're poor, broke down, come up here in a horse trailer, load up everything they have in a horse trailer, and move to Nashville. Get a record deal and hit it big. Me and Sweetie moved up here in a U-Haul truck. 4 months later, we moved back to Gleason in a horse trailer. We like to starve to death up here. Takes time. Well, we got financially embarrassed up here so bad that I went out to the bank to try to borrow some money, and I run up on the sorriest human being I've ever met. He was a loan officer, and Cobb was his name. I'll never forget it. I walked in his office, and his name was up on the desk. I said, Mr. Cobb, how you doing today? And he just stared at me. I said, Mr. Cobb, there be any chance you loan me and my wife enough money to tide us over till we could get us some credit cards? He jumped up out of his chair. He said, you're from the country, aren't you? I said, yes, sir. He said, do you know what we do with hicks in the city? And I said, no, but I know what we do with cobs in the country. I didn't get the loan. This is one we play everywhere we go. I am thankful to be able to do this for a living. All us boys are. And we always like to thank the fella that give us our talent. And this seems to be a song that everybody knows and loves. And it's my favorite song in the world. I'm going to play it on a harmonica for you. Well, folks, we've had a big time picking for you here, and we're going to end up with a little song here. This is the first one I learned on the banjo. It's called Cripple Creek. Y'all come back and see us again sometime. In Gleason. Pull in the old garage. Master mixture bags. Well, folks, we've had a great time making this video for you, and I hope you've enjoyed it. We sure had a big time making it. I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm fixing to go get me something to eat. It's time for supper. See you next time.